Welcome everyone to our Trade Room webinar. So today we'll cover some technical chart patterns, two in particular called morning and evening star. So these are reversal patterns, and I really do like these patterns. So what I'm looking for is these to set up at support and resistance levels. So today I will go through what these patterns look like and how to take trades based on that. Before we get into it though, just a quick disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As I said, on agenda for today, we'll look at how to identify key turning points in the market, and we'll take a look at a morning and evening star chart patterns. And then we'll take a look at how do we take trades based on these. All right, so there are many different reversal patterns. And the point of reversal pattern is that they show a change in market direction. So price could be going one way, and then when it reverses or starts to reverse, that's when we tend to see these reversal patterns. And there are, of course, bullish and bearish reversal patterns depending on the market direction. And these patterns can set up on all kinds of different time frames. So they're not tied to any particular time frames. I do like the 1 hour ones, but I will take a look at them on all different time frames. So usually what I do is I'm looking for support resistance levels from higher time frames and then looking to take a trade from lower time frames. So sometimes I'll post a 5-minute chart, and that is because usually there is a support resistance level that is coming from let's say a daily or a 4-hour time frame, but the price I'm looking at it on a 5-minute, but the same support resistance level, and I'm looking for a reversal pattern to show up to see if there's an opportunity to take that trade. So some of the reversal patterns, there's head and shoulders, double top, double bottoms, there's bullish, bearish engulfing. The one that we're going to talk about today is the morning and evening star reversal pattern. So this is the one that we'll focus on today. All right, so the definition of an uptrend is when the price is making higher highs and higher lows. One thing to be very careful about when we are looking at market trend is that we are comparing the highs to the previous highs, and we're comparing the lows to the previous low. So we do not want to compare the low to the previous high, because it doesn't have to be higher than the low here. Doesn't have to be higher than the previous high here. It could have come over here, and that would have still been an uptrend. So again, very important to compare the highs to previous highs and lows to previous lows to identify the trend. So when the price is making higher highs and higher lows, that's our uptrend. So that's our definition of uptrend. And downtrend, of course, is when price is making lower highs and lower lows. So again, we are not comparing the low to the previous high, this low to the previous high. We're only comparing the highs to the previous highs, and we're comparing the lows to previous lows. So that is very important to keep in mind. Okay, so once we see this type of formation, and it won't look picture perfect when you're looking at the chart, right? It's easy to draw a very nice picture, but when we're looking at the charts, it won't look quite as perfect. But important thing we just have to keep in mind will be the highs, so swing highs and swing lows. So as long as they are flowing like this, then we'd have a downtrend. And then we have sideways markets. Sometimes it will be a range-bound market. So when you hear me in the daily market analysis call say we are in a range-bound market, it's the same thing as the sideways market. All right, so we will take a look at that. We'll take a look at that, Sean. So this is called the range-bound market, when price is not really making any higher highs or higher lows. It's just going back and forth. And it doesn't have to look, again, perfect like that. But the point is that price goes up, comes down, but there's no defined higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows. So that's the most important thing to keep in mind here. In that case, price is range bound. Price usually establishes a high, and usually there's a low, and then price will just go back and forth between the two. So that's called our sideways trend or the range bound market. So evening stars and morning star reversal patterns can set up in any of those markets. So when we are looking at downtrend and uptrend, of course, we'll be looking to either find these patterns on a pullback level for the drop, or if you're looking for a reversal, we'll be looking at the lows in terms of a downtrend, and we'll be looking for price to go up from there. In a sideways market, we'll be looking for our evening star to set up at the range high, and we will be looking for our morning star to set up at the range low. So these evening star and morning star patterns can be found under all market conditions. So let's take a look at what an evening star looks like first of all. So evening star is usually found at the end of a bullish trend or on a pullback in a bullish trend. So there are three candles that we have to pay attention to. First, we'll have a bullish candlesticks, which will be part of our trend, and then a doji, and then a bearish confirmation candle. So let me draw it out. So normally what we'll see is price will be going up. So we'll have bullish candles like this. So normally in an uptrend, we'll have some sort of bullish candles like this. So price will generally make a bullish candle. And then we get in the middle where we are expecting now, because price is in an uptrend where we are expecting another bullish candle. Instead of a bullish candle, we get this doji, this indecision candle. Dojis are indecision candles when they look like this. So we have price that opens and closes at approximately the same point. It can be at exactly the same level, or we can have a small candle body in the middle. But the important thing is that the candle body is very, very small, and we have large pins on both sides. So so those two candles are the first part of our bullish, and then we have reversal candle here. So this will be our third candle, and this all together will form our pattern here. So if we were to So this here is our evening star pattern. So we'll have three candlesticks in an evening star pattern. We have a bullish candle, an indecision candle in the middle, and then we have a red candle, which is our bearish candle. So after the red candle, we are expecting the price to drop from here and go down. So that's our evening star chart pattern. So if you take a look at this is what it will look. So we'll have a bullish candle, and then in the middle, like I said, so we could have a small candle that looks like this, or we can have a large pins on both sides with a little candle body. But this candle here shows indecision in the market. So this shows that the bulls are losing, or the price is losing momentum, and now we could reverse. And the third candle here is the confirmation candle, where now we know, so we do not take a trade on this candle after the close of this candle. We will take a trade when this candle here closes. So this is our bearish confirmation candle. So we're looking for this candle to close, and then we take a trade after the close of this candle. So evening star basically signifies the end of a bullish move, and now we're looking for price to reverse. So it is a bearish reversal signal. And like I said, it can be used in trending as well as range-bound markets. So at a pullback level, we are looking for price to continue lower, and in a range-bound market, we're looking for this type of a pattern at the high of the range, because now we're looking for price to drop. So this is a bearish reversal pattern. Any questions on this? Okay, so no questions. Let's continue. Next, we are going to take a look at a morning star pattern. So morning star pattern is the opposite of the evening star pattern. So this is a bullish reversal pattern. And in this case, actually, this is wrong. This should not be morning star. Let me just change this real quick here. Looks like it's wrong. It should say evening star. Okay. All right, so for entry, like I said, for our evening star pattern will be at the close of the bearish confirmation candle, and then we are looking for price to drop, and our stops would go above the high. And usually I look for this at major support and resistance level because we don't want to take this pattern randomly. So in this case, if this is our evening star pattern, our stop loss, I would put it above over here. So above the high here, we want to make sure there's some room for trade to breathe because sometimes price can go up and test the level once again. And sometimes they'll try to spike through and try to get all the stops. So we want to make sure there is some room for that. And then our entry in this case would be at the close of this candle. So, or I should say right over here, or you can look for 50% pullback on that. If the price is pulling back, you can just give it a few minutes for it to pull back. And then this will be our entry if you're taking the pullback or right on the close of the candle. Either one of those are totally fine. So this is where we will enter. And from here, we are basically looking for price to essentially drop from here. So we're looking for price to go down after this. Okay, so now let's move on to our morning star trade setup. Actually, I had drawn this here. Okay, so stop would go above the high here and the entry would be on the close of the candle. Morning star reversal pattern. So morning star, again, it's a reversal pattern and it is found at the end of a bearish trend. So this is a bullish reversal pattern. From here, we'd be looking for price to go up. So it's a bearish, it's found at the end of a bearish trend or at the end of a pullback when the prices are dropping. Okay, again, it's made up of 3 candles. There is a bearish candlestick, which will be the first one, which is part of the trend. And then in the middle, we get a doji or an indecision candle, followed by a bullish candle. The bullish candle will confirm that our reversal is about to happen. And we have to wait for the bullish candle in order to take a trade. So this is what it looks like. So we'll have a bearish candle. This will be the first one. And normally when the price will be trending here, we will generally see these candles like this, and price will be coming down, and then we will see this type of a bearish candle. So this is all part of the trend. And in the middle, then we get this indecision candle, or we could have large pins on this candle and it will look like this, or there may not be any candle body. All of those dojis are fine. They're all dojis. Important thing to remember here is that we have to see a bullish confirmation candle, and this bullish confirmation candle has to be big. And I do like it when they are about the same size here, or if this one is larger. But if, let's say, this candle is about that, that I don't like so much. I want to see this candle either engulf this candle on the other side, or it has to be substantial size. So let's say this candle here was quite large, like this, then I would like this candle here to at least be about that size, right? So it cannot be a small candle because then that negates, that's not our morning star pattern. So just an important thing to keep in mind for both morning star and evening star patterns. The third candle, I like it to be either to engulf this candle, or it has to be very close in size for it to be a valid pattern. So that's our morning star pattern. bearish candle, an indecision candle in the middle, and a bullish confirmation candle, which shows that the reversal is about to happen. So once we see this, so usually the Morningstar patterns will occur after extended downturn. So usually we'll have price moving down, and then we'll get it at the end of the downturn. We get a Morningstar, and then we are looking for price to reverse. So it is a bullish reversal signal, and now we are looking to go long in this trade. So we will take a long trade. And again, we can use this in trending markets, or we can use this in range-bound markets. I like to look for these chart patterns at important support and resistance levels. So that's something to keep in mind. So if we have, let's say, a pivot point level, or we have a daily support resistance level, all of those are valid places to take this trade. But again, we don't want to take it at just minor support levels, support resistance levels, because then it may not do anything, right? So keep that in mind. So this is our Morningstar pattern. Again, we have a bearish candle and a small indecision candle in the middle and a bullish confirmation candle. So entry will be on the close of the bullish confirmation candle. So we have to wait for that confirmation candle, because otherwise price could just continue on. It could just be an indecision candle and then continuation. So we have to wait for the confirmation candle. Stop loss will be below the low, so below the low of the indecision candle, and the target will be the next major support and resistance level. So in this case, this is our evening star chart pattern. So our stop loss will be above the pin here. So we want to make sure that it's above the, sorry, I said low before, sorry, above the high here of our indecision candle. So this is where our stop, oh, this is wrong. Sorry, what am I doing today? Okay, so Morningstar pattern. Actually, let me just fix that. Looks like I am not in my, okay, so this is our Morningstar pattern. So I was correct. A little on drugs here. Okay, so evening star pattern. So we have this type of a morning star pattern, sorry. So we have this type of pattern. So our stop loss would go below the low here of our pin. Again, we want to give it some room. We don't want to put the stop right here. It has to be a little bit below here, because in case price wants to come back and test this level again, sometimes they run stops and things like that. So we just want to make sure there's enough room, and our entry will be above this bullish candle. And now we're looking for price to go up higher. So this is what our evening star pattern would be. And this is our, sorry, that was our morning star pattern. And this is what our evening star pattern will look like. So those are the two patterns. And if you're watching the video, you can just take a picture of this and this if you want to create your flashcards. So that would be a good idea. So those are the two patterns. So in real life, what does this look like? In real life, this is an example of an evening star chart pattern. So we have uptrend here. So overall, we have a downtrend, and then price starts to go up. So it's pulling back, and then we get this evening star pattern. So we have a bullish candle, indecision candle, or doji in the middle, and then we have a bearish reversal candle. So that confirms our chart pattern. That's an evening star pattern. So here, in this case, see how price pulled back here? So you could even look for an entry on 50% of the pullback. I would put my stop above that one here. So a little bit above this one to make sure in case price comes and tests this level, anything can happen, right? So we have to keep that in mind. And then we're looking for price to drop. As we can see, price drops after that. So that's an example of an evening star pattern. So here's another one. So in this case, price was going up, came into support and resistance level. So here we have a bullish candle, a little tiny indecision candle, and then a bearish candle here. So once this bearish candle closes, we can look for a bit of a pullback, or we can just enter at the close of this candle. Stop would go above the highs here. So again, we want to give it some room. So we put it above the highs, and we're looking for price to drop. So our entries here, it kind of pulls back a little, drops, pulls back a little bit, and then drops further. And as we can see how price is not going anywhere, starts to trade sideways here. That would be a good place to exit the trade. So 535 pips in this trade. So that's a nice evening star. So this is based on a daily. Usually when you take trades, these chart patterns from a higher time frame, number of pips will be larger. If you were to take this on a 5-minute time frame, then this may just be 50 pips, right? So it depends on the time frame you're trading for the profit target. Here's another example of evening star chart pattern. In this case, price went up and then pulled back and did another leg up. And then at the high here, we have a pin bar, and then we have this evening star pattern. As we can see how it doesn't break the high. Then we have a bullish candle, and we have indecision candle in the middle, and then a reversal candle. So now we're looking for price to drop from here. So we put our stop above the high and looking for it to drop into the next support and resistance level. This is where we would exit the trade. This is again on a daily chart. So when these patterns show up on a daily candlestick, so that's why I like to look at the daily candlesticks. These are very important patterns. So Chufu has a question: what if evening star only formed after price pushed through the resistance and confirmation candle is still above the resistance? That's okay. So in this case, it's still a valid pattern, because in that case, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to run the stops. A lot of times people will see a pin bar and they will enter the trade short. So what the market makers will sometimes do is they'll try to push the price through here, and it will look like, oh, the price is going to break out, and some people will actually take the breakout trade before it confirms, and then they pull it all the way back in. So as long as price comes back, so you can either wait for another candle to the downside, or you can still take it. In that case, it's not the highest probability trade. The highest probability trade will be when price is at the resistance and it stays below the resistance. But in that case too, it would be a valid pattern, but the probability is not as high. But it could also be the market maker just trying to fake everybody, right? And then they could just have it drop. Here's another example of an evening star that doesn't look quite perfect. So in this case, we have a bullish candle, and then we have this indecision candle. And in this case, market makers did push the price all the way up high and then closed. So this is what I was talking about, where I like to see that the candles, it can't be too small. It has to be at least a meaningful candle. And in this case, you could also wait for the next candle to close to make sure that the price is actually reversing, and it doesn't just, it's not just going to continue higher. But I like this large pin on the top. I like the candle close in the to the downside, and you can look for a pullback for entry, or you can enter the trade on the close of this. Stop would go above this high again here, and we're looking for price to drop. There's another evening star pattern right here as well, which is our support and resistance over here as well. So a couple of evening star patterns there. Morning star here. So here we have New Zealand dollar. We have price came into our S1 level and did a little. So this one here is kind of like a morning star pattern here as well. But see, it's too big. The candle is too big. So you could take this, but I like this one better because it's more balanced in terms of the size of the candles. My favorite ones to trade are the ones that are more balanced, as opposed to the ones that are skewed to either side. So this is a morning star pattern. We have it on a pivot point support S1 level, which is good. And we see that it actually sets up above our support level, which is a good thing as well, because now we're looking for price to go up. And as we can see, price goes up quite a ways after that. Here's another example of a morning star pattern. And Chufu, this is similar to what you were talking about, but it's slightly different because it still closes above the support here. So in this case, price is dropping, comes into the S1 level, and then we have a bearish candle, indecision candle, and a bullish reversal candle. So this is our morning star pattern. So in this case, it did break the support here, but then price pulled back. So this one I like because it pulled back above our support level here, could not hold below. If it, let's say, if this was set up here, I would actually maybe I could wait, like you could wait for another one, this candle here, and then take the trade. But this one here is a good Morningstar trade setup, and as we can see, price goes up after that. So this is a nice reversal pattern. Here's another example of a Morningstar pattern. So we see price was dropping, and then we get a Morningstar pattern, bearish candle, indecision candle, and a bullish candle. And now after that, price goes up. So our stop would go below the pin here, and we could even put it a little bit lower here, below this pin, to make sure that price will continue higher. So that's our Morningstar pattern. And that is it. Any questions about this? So those are Morningstar and Evening Star patterns. These are some of the patterns I do look for when I am trading. So if you see these patterns, I would say practice them. Go backwards on your charts to find these patterns, so you get very used to, or you get used to seeing them when they are setting up during the live market conditions. All right, so we will call it a wrap. Let's take a quick peek at what's going on with our New Zealand dollar trade. Looks like the New Zealand yen is dropping here. Where's the New Zealand dollar? Okay, so the New Zealand dollar is dropping here as well. I will be sending a link for the recording as well. All right, so we will call it a wrap. You guys have a wonderful rest of the, or I would say, wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Sunday for our weekly analysis. Bye for now.